Hey, everybody, it's Dr. J. Spiking, speaking live from Long Island, New York, where it's pretty nice.
Yeah, no, it is good looking out there.
Pretty nice. Wall Street, not so nice to me today, even though everything is up. Not everything is up because Bitcoin is not up. MicroStrategy
Right.
is not up.
Well, you said
It's
it's going to go
funny.
straight up, right?
Right. What I've been doing is selling MicroStrategy into strength and buying the underlying ETF, IBIT. But I didn't quite finish doing that when it started to collapse for me. I only sold 35% of my MicroStrategy. So it's funny though. Also, I read that a billionaire has a big short on MicroStrategy and is buying IBIT, the same thing I've been doing.
Oh, he's doing your move.
He must have been watching the show. I said a long time ago what I'm doing. But I'm not shorting, of course. But the article that I read didn't mention who the billionaire is. It just says he's got a big short on. Big short. Covering is short a little bit by going long IBIT. So anyway, I think that's a good strategy. What I've been doing.
I bought some IBIT today.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
38.3.
I think you can't go wrong if you buy IBIT every month and average into it over the course of the next couple of years. I think you almost for sure are going to be ahead. Maybe not tremendously, but you're going to be ahead because you're going to be buying it at lower levels and as well as higher levels.
Right. So what you're saying is, this holds with anything that you're going to do a buy and hold for your life. If any of us had done this with Microsoft when we were of age.
So I listed a bunch of metal stocks, expecting Arjun would come and talk about it, but I haven't seen. He hasn't shown up.
But he's doing specialty metals. He's not really just doing like the gold play like I am.
Arjun,
you were talking about palladium and platinum at the last show.
Yeah, I just texted him, see if he's coming. But we're going to look at the BTC, Bitcoin, US dollar. We're going to look at MicroStrategy. We're going to look at, what have I got up there? SMCI, SPY, Google. Google had a very big announcement with Apple.
Yeah. Interesting.
Next Apple iPhone you buy may very well have Google AI built into it. It might have Genesis built in. That's a biggie.
It really is.
Yeah.
The question they were asking was who's paying whom? Is Apple paying Google? Is Google paying Apple?
Well, they're both up on the news.
Right.
They're both up on the news, Apple and Google. So I don't know. Well, we may not have Arjun, but we have Zachary today. Hey, Zachary.
Hello, Zachary.
Let's get started.
Might as well. Then you can every now and then take a peek to see if Arjun's shown up.
Yeah. All right. So the first on the list, let's look at SPY just to.
It's still its channel, huh?
Beautiful channel. It's trading today right in the middle of its beautiful channel. Although the candle today is nothing to speak of. It's even though its SPY is up 0.61% today, the candle is not the best looking candle.
Yeah, the broader markets are actually down today. The Russell.
Yeah, the Russell. I got out of my position. I feel good that I did because it's been.
So it might be portending a little bit of a breather, if you will.
Well, I think I said that Bitcoin may lead the spiders down, or spiders lead Bitcoin down. But I knew something is going to break first, And it looks like Bitcoin might be breaking before the SPY.
Yeah.
But I think, again, I think we get modest pullbacks in both. I don't think we get tremendous pullbacks. Bitcoin, you're going to get more of a pullback than SPY. SPY has been holding the lower channel line very well. So even on a little, it might dip 3 to 5%. It could dip down to as much as like just below 500. It's possible. But I think if you look at Bitcoins, take a look at Bitcoin. You see the Fibonacci numbers from its January low. Remember in January, it sold off after the announcement of the ETFs.
Right.
That low was like 37,346, around there. And it went as high as 73,000 and change, so I think 500. So now it's back off, and it has not hit a fib number yet. The fib number that's of interest to me is 60,381, around there, 38.2% retrace. So that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. If the 61.8% is interesting also, because then it would fill the gap. So that's another interesting one, say around 52,000. So I think
it's going to happen soon, right? This is not happening soon.
Well, with Bitcoin, nothing takes long. Bitcoin is extremely volatile. Look, this was January 22nd, all the way down here at 38,000. So Bitcoin, what do you mean by soon? Like weeks, months,
Yeah,
Everything happens quickly. And the halving is middle of April. So there's a lot that could happen between now and the middle of April. In the previous halvings, the 2 weeks before the actual halving date, Bitcoin has gone down as much as like 22%, 28%. So maybe it's starting a little earlier this year, the fall from the highs. So I see it having more room to go. 60,000 area, right in there. That's what I'm looking for Bitcoin. In other words, another 7,000. It fell about half of what I think it's going to go. In the worst case, actually, the worst case is down here, 52,000. I don't think it gets back to make a full retrace to 38,000. I don't think that'll happen. The worst that I think we could be looking at for Bitcoin is 52,000, in my opinion. Of course, our opinions are what? Strictly our own, not investment advice, all that stuff, right? Let's see if Arjun did show up. Arjun, we're talking doom and gloom on Bitcoin.
Oh,
It's giving.
How are you, Arjun?
It's giving back.
I'm doing good. Doing good. Yeah, I'm catching up. I've been checked out, so I'm ramping back up to learn the goings on.
Yeah, you haven't been following Bitcoin too much?
I think his honeymoon just ended. Like yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I've let a lot of stuff ride. I'm like just getting back into being active again. That's why I wanted to hop on.
Yeah, I know you told me you're into the metals, right?
Yeah, I was noticing platinum, palladium was really cheap, so I grabbed some stuff related to that. But yeah, I mean, I've been mostly riding the same big ones that I'm sure you guys have too, like NVIDIA.
Professor Spike and I were chatting about whether you got out of PBR in time.
Yeah. I mean, I had been trimming on the way up almost fully. And I mean, it's still well above where we entered, but yeah, I have maybe like 1/5 of my original position.
Good on you.
the gravy train is over, it looks like, in Brazil. Brazil said, F you to us Americanos.
Yeah, well, bought it cheap enough that I rode the meat of it, but yeah, I've been fading out of it. And yeah, I mean, what have you been in? Nvidia.
We've been enjoying the Nvidias, the SMCIs of the world.
I missed that one.
Taking little rides.
I had like an 80% move in my portfolio in like 15 months.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, similar-ish for me. Not 80, but in the 60s.
I'm giving back. I'm giving back a little right now, though.
Yeah. This year, I think it's pretty much flat, if not slightly down.
No, January and February were very good months for me.
Yeah.
So the weed stocks are in play, apparently.
Yeah,
We haven't seen mention of weed stocks in a long time.
nah, only when I cry about them.
Yeah. So I spoke about BTC and we want to look at and the spiders. I want to look quickly at SMCI and mstr. Then I'll turn it over and Google, and then I'll turn it over to you to talk metals.
Okay.
So SMCI. SMCI looks like a good place to buy right here, actually. Put in a double bottom today, came back up above the previous bottom from 3.5. I like SMCI. Of course, I keep buying this one. I think it's going to 2,000. So I don't care where it is almost. I added today.
Oh, did you? You
Yeah.
don't think there's going to be a complete gap fill on that from the technical?
I have the line drawn in. It could certainly be a complete gap fill, in which case I buy more.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't
But
really.
you did get the 50% retrace, so that's a nice number there.
That's why I bought more.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
That's why I bought
Yeah.
the 50% fib number. Yeah.
Where did you enter first?
But this is.
Oh, he's been in there forever.
I'm in it from 200.
Nice.
So I keep buying it. I did sell some along the way, but I basically I cashed in once or twice. But I'm basically a buyer of SMCI along with NVDA. I just keep buying. I'm not afraid to buy these names, SMCI and NVDA. I'm also not afraid to add to my IBIT, but MicroStrategy I've been selling into strength. So that's been my strategy of late. Sell MSTR on rallies and add IBIT. IBIT is one of the ETFs, the BlackRock ETF, if you haven't been following. So anyway, the other one, we looked at MicroStrategy, right? Yeah. We looked at this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at the support.
No, we didn't actually look at this chart, right?
Perfect support today. It looks like a really good place where it stopped today. And I didn't buy any though, because it's not my strategy. My strategy is to add to IBIT as opposed to this one. I may not be selling anymore because I think at this point it's close to bottoming out. I did mention that there's a big short on MicroStrategy and someone is shorting that and buying IBIT, and other than me. Besides moi. They must have been watching the show and got the idea, but it was purportedly it's a billionaire that's doing that.
This looks great.
Google and Apple
Right?
both benefiting today on news that Genesis is going to be built in to the next iPhone, probably. Probably they're working. I think that it's not been finalized. Maybe it has. I don't know. So next time you buy an iPhone for 1,500, you're going to get Genesis thrown in. That's the AI, Google AI.
That means Siri's going to be a real smartass.
And as Professor Spike asked me, who's paying who for this?
Right.
Who's paying who? Who's benefiting more, Apple or Google? And my response is, I don't know. I don't care. They're both up.
Yeah.
They're both up on the news. This one's up.
That's the basic idea behind symbiosis.
Yeah. This one's up 4.6% today. Nice move, but ugly looking candle though.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's well above that line that you were tracing. So we have a lot of room, even if it's.
Yeah, that's it. It broke a key level over here. The high was 149.34, so it broke that during the day. It looks as good as it's looked in a long time. Google, look how
you could draw an upward channel, right? You connect those lower and top. It looks like it's a rising channel there.
We have a nice V-shaped recovery too.
Yeah. It looks like it's pretty safe to add around 140. I mean,
unless you think it's going to fill this gap, give it all back. I mean,
yeah, 138. I mean, anything in that range wouldn't
my
be
thinking
too
is it certainly doesn't have to fill the gap, but it probably will.
Yeah.
It probably
But
will.
that last candle seems to indicate that that's where it's headed.
The candle
Probably.
from today's candle, yeah.
Yeah. I would assume it would open tomorrow somewhere in that gap.
It could close this gap, in which case it'll immediately get bought, though. So
yeah, that's the thing. People, I'm sure there's a lot of people waiting at 145.
I like the 140 to 142. That range is nice. Yeah.
Let's take a quick look at Apple, and I'll turn it over to you to have a look at some of your favorite metals.
Yeah, sure.
Apple. Let's see, Apple. What'd I do? Apple. AAPL. A bite of the apple. It's actually down.
Yeah, it gave up most of its gains for some reason.
That's weird.
It was well over 177. Maybe that answers your question, Professor Spike.
All right, you know what? I'm not even going to bother looking then.
Yeah, you're right. That answers the question.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. So, John, we'll let you chart.
All right. Yeah, I gotta crank out this.
I'll turn it over to you.
I haven't charted in forever.
I should get another screen.
I feel like pull in.
Do you know how to do it? Do you know how to? Do you know how to? I got to stop screen sharing.
Yeah.
You start it. Hit present.
Yeah, you're well, hold on, I'm just pulling up my chart. I haven't charted in a while, so I need to remember how to do this.
Yeah, I was actually looking at your list.
If you want, I can do it. I mean,
no, here I think this should work. Let me get this on the big screen. Okay, share screen.
Dan's giving up some news about cassava.
Good news, yeah.
Cassava. I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah, we're still riding it.
Wow.
Cassava is not a bad one to own. It's the only one. It's the one of two biotechs that I own.
All right, let's see. So this chart, the reason I like this is I've been tracking the price of platinum, palladium. So for context, a lot of this is used in our day-to-day life when we're driving. Basically, what this is me hedging against the fact that I think that like EVs are coming up, but I think that their runway for hybrids and regular gas cars.
So this is platinum and palladium, both?
Yeah, this one's all a bunch of metals. This one.
Yeah, this one, I mean, they profit off platinum, palladium. They even have a little bit of gold that they've been doing stuff with. But I just think it's way too cheap. I was looking a lot at their fundamentals, and I really like it. The chart itself.
Looks like it's at a very good area of support.
Yeah,
It's bottoming.
That's why I liked adding it. Granted, this is a long time frame, so keep in mind, I really liked that it stayed above the COVID low.
Yeah.
And I've been nibbling here, I've been buying little bits and pieces. Like I bought a chunk in the 3s and now it's sitting in the low 4s. But what I'm basically banking on is this can double. This can like get back to the top of this range that I've kind of drawn here. I mean, it might take a while for sure, but this is my long-term thinking on this. I think if you're buying in the lower part of this range, your odds are solid, maybe 2 or 3 to 1 that it can at least get back up to these moving averages. Then if we zoom in a bit, I like the add point becomes, you can kind of figure out what I'm getting at here. Like,
yeah. Now I had a question for you, Arjun. The difference between going for the miners versus going for the metal itself. Do you know of any plays that just play directly on the metal itself without having to deal with all the overhead of the mining?
Yeah, that's I do have a few there. So impuy, this one's a little more directly tied to the metal itself. But you can even just play. I think there's one. It's like PALL. If you really want to just go to like palladium futures, I mean, you can just play that.
Gotcha.
But I like the tangential plays a little bit better. I like because if I'm just betting on the metal, it's usually these futures things that I don't love playing with. I like just betting on the company.
Yeah, I get you. A lot of market manipulation.
You get messed up with
being Israel stock.
Don't you get messed up with those contangos, whatever it's called, when you bet the future?
There was like a big
I don't like betting
palladium and
like natural gas, UNG. I always get chipped every month when the future expires, the contract expires.
Yeah, right.
You get that rollover.
But for oil, the opposite was happening to me. I was, the dig versus the oil price was very different behavior.
By the way,
the oil was doing a lot better than the
what
miners.
country is SBSW? What country are they out of?
South Africa.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had this trend the last couple of years. I've been doing a lot of foreign investment, so that is off-putting to some, but it's been working for me. And yeah, so I mean, like, I'm just very interested in this space right now because of how cheap it is versus historical values, right? Like, I mean,
what is this one? IMPUY.
This is another so SBSW is a little more spread out amongst like platinum, palladium, and gold. This one is a little more focused in on just the platinum. I see a similar story here where, not a whole lot has changed in terms of like the fundamentals of these companies since they were trading up in the 20s, but just the sentiment, it got really beat down. And I'm playing these all for a double. I'll wait as long as it takes. I'll be careful with that lower band, obviously. Like if it starts to test the COVID lows, I don't want to be a hero. So I like adding at or below these levels it's at now.
This chart looks just like the other one.
Exactly. Yeah.
It really does.
So I think what I'm finding here is this is just an industry that's been beaten down sentiment wise, and I like the low it put in, and so I'm willing to make a decent sized bet that low will not break.
Would you go back into lithium?
I like the idea of playing the individual miners as opposed to the metal itself.
Yep. Yeah.
I see that. What do you think? But what do you think of lithium? Is lithium done, or is it coming back?
I don't know. I don't have as much good insight there. I mean, I like the reason I like these is these are things that we've been using forever that I think people are assuming are on their way out. Lithium is new, right? This is a lot more related to the EVs, and I've been out of those for a while.
Yeah, no,
So
the EVs fell out of favor, and lithium went along right with it. So I see your point.
yeah, I mean, a lot of the stats I've been looking at, right? Like the cars with the highest sales right now that are even increasing are not really EVs. I mean, we're still buying a lot of hybrids, and so I just think that like the sentiment went towards EV is the future. It crushed all of the sentiment related to this, and now I think we're in this supply. There's a big supply issue versus the demand on these metals, and I think the prices are going to have to go back up to find an equilibrium. So I mean, if I don't really do targets, but for this I'm looking at $7 to $8, and the other one I'm looking for 8 to 9.
How about GPRK?
Yeah, GPRK. That one is that's still in the Latin American oil space. They announced a really nice dividend. I got in before their earnings, and I just like their new dividend policy a lot. They're starting to pay it out. I think this is converging nicely here. It's kind of, it put in a nice low here that was above the prior lows in 2020. And I like this one to bounce back up to the 15 range at some point too. But this is what I basically think is a version of PBR that hasn't been found out yet.
Right.
PBR is
There's still some there.
Yeah, PBR I think is old news. Everyone figured it out. It shot up. We got out. But this one I think has a better story behind it versus the valuation. So I personally I'm okay adding this basically anytime it dips. I like the low it put in here. And since earnings, which happened the week of March 4th, it's gone up and it hasn't come back down. I mean, it might be hitting a little level of difficulty here. So you might want to wait for a slight pullback, but I don't want to get too cute with this one because I think this one's worth 15.
Looks good. The chart looks interesting.
Now, why do you suppose that palladium and platinum are doing so bad if gold is at an all-time high?
I mean, the short interest, like if you want to get to like the real reason why, like I don't think it's anything to do with the actual like fundamentals or like the story with these companies. There were just some insane short positions that started to actually unwind pretty violently during some of these spikes, but now there's just a whole lot of volatility with these stocks that you might have to weather. I mean, but I like volatility when I'm at the lower end of a range. I don't love it when I'm at the higher end of a range. But you see these green candles here. These were some of the highest volumes you've ever seen. And I think a lot of it was short positions unwinding. You never have direct proof of that, but that's a lot of what I was reading.
And what was the other one? BAK?
Yeah, BAK. That's a buyout play. I like this one a lot. PBR owns a nice stake of this one, and it's basically they've had offers for buyouts from some Saudi companies. This is the petrochemical industry. Look, I mean, the bottoms it put in here I really like. It's basically a triple bottom.
Yeah.
And on the buyout news, it shot up to the $25 level, but then it kind of like retreated, and then another buyout offer came in. It came back to the 1280 level. What I'm reading is this company's worth about $14.
Yeah, all very interesting looking charts, all with potential reversal patterns. They all look good.
Mm-hmm.
Which one do you like? Which two do you like the best?
I think this one's my favorite, BAK, just because I have pretty good conviction based on the buyout offers, what it's worth, and then I'm gonna say SBSW. I really like what I'm seeing there.
Are they both ADRs?
Yeah, unfortunately they are. I don't love ADRs, but I love the companies, so I'm willing to put up with it.
Right.
Yeah, but ADRs can be a little wonky, especially like with a lot of the times it's like two shares equal one ADR or vice versa. So you have that, and sometimes you get gypped buying it here versus on their market. But if you're looking to diversify a little outside of tech and all the stuff that everyone's excited about, I've been nibbling at these. I think I like the odds of them doubling.
Well, it's really, really good seeing you again. We're going to basically wrap up here, but join us. Come Thursday. We're on Mondays and Thursdays. Anytime you want, you're invited. We might have big positions in BAK by then, right? Right. Kamal's getting his checkbook out.
I'm writing notes. I'm just writing notes.
Hey, I mean, join the party. I'm accumulating monthly, weekly, whatever.
I basically have been raising a lot of cash, so I don't know what to do with it. I might actually try some of these. All right, so that's it for today, and we'll see you Thursday. Ciao.
Good to see everyone.
Good seeing you, Arjun. Bye-bye.